But we're going to find out this guy's paid a lot of people for influencers. Like
Oh yeah,
he bought various bloggers off.
yeah.
Um,
Well, I
I'm
mean, yeah,
happy. There's no photograph of me with him. I'm
yeah,
very happy.
good. I don't want to see one. That's good because yeah, it was something around 70 million to the Democrats. But I'm on the same page as you. I'm really curious what he paid to media. I mean, Kevin O'Leary was on CNBC a couple of days ago talking about his $15 million check, and then saying he'd kind of, he'd support the guy in the future. And it's like, what are you talking about? I think there's like a big sum, and I wonder if that's why he was getting this white glove treatment from the media across the board. I found it very curious.
It's very, very weird, but we know that places like CNBC, they're giving lob balls to him.
Hey guys, welcome back to Library of Wealth. As the unraveling of FTX continues, in an affidavit that emerged Tuesday, Bankman-Fried said he and FTX co-founder Gary Wang borrowed more than $546 million from the hedge fund Alameda Research, which they used to purchase Robinhood shares via a holding company primarily controlled by Bankman-Fried. SBF's stake in Robinhood is now at the center of a separate, multinational legal battle over the assets associated with FTX's bankrupt crypto empire. So far, Bankman-Fried is one of the only executives to face charges. Since emerging as a leading political donor in the months before the 2020 election, he has donated nearly $45 million, primarily to Democratic campaigns and committees that are now scrambling to distance themselves. The Justice Department's inquiries appear to be an effort to gather evidence against Bankman-Fried and other former FTX executives rather than against their political beneficiaries. But the prosecutor's requests widen what has quickly become one of the biggest campaign finance scandals in years, as both Democrats and Republicans grapple with questions about their eagerness to tap into a stream of cash from a largely unregulated industry that emerged suddenly as a powerful political player. The fallout has been swift and is only growing as lawyers for FTX and Alameda try to minimize the damage. Since the guilty plea by Caroline Ellison last week, court documents show that Alameda had a virtually unlimited borrowing facility in FTX, and Ellison knew the exchange would need to use customer funds to finance loans to the hedge fund. She also agreed to keep the two firms' unusually close relationship hidden from investors and customers. From July through October, Ellison knowingly agreed with Bankman-Fried and others to provide material misleading financial statements to Alameda's lenders. They also prepared balance sheets and concealed the extent of Alameda's borrowing, according to the plea hearings held on December 19th, which has recently been unsealed. Let's check out this interview with investor Frank Holmes as he talks about what the media is not telling us about FTX, Kevin O'Leary, and Sam Bankman-Fried. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy the content we do here on this channel. Let's get right into the video.
Well, I think that it's very political, and we've seen a lot of people didn't realize how much money he gave to both parties, but predominantly the Democrat Party. And his mother and father are professors in law at Stanford, and they're very big in raising money for the Democrat Party. So if most of the Beltway agencies are Democrat, and he gave all this money, I think $5 million to the White House. He was the biggest funder going into this midterm elections. So people are going to give him that. I think that's what's going to happen. And the person that turns on him was the guy that gave money to the Republicans, but he only gave it to Republicans that were pro the crypto space. So it's political. Both parties, I don't know how it's going to resolve itself, and you just hope there's going to be justice that will prevail. And that's all I hope, because he's a real psychopath. This is a psychopath, and I was told by my lawyers are telling me that it creates value for old guys like me. If there was nothing with white hair around him giving guidance about volatility, corporate governance, risk management, and he's above all that. And one of the things is that I had no interest in meeting him when I saw him on a picture in an interview on the stage with Prime Minister Tony Blair and President Bill Clinton in shorts and flip-flops, like he's above them.
Yeah.
He's above them. And to me, it was just disrespectful. I don't care he went to MIT and his parents were at Stanford. I just found it was just disrespectful to incredible leaders of the world.
Yeah.
And other people jumped all over to, oh, give me, he promised $15 million to one guy, 5 million to another to write all these good stories about him and promote. That's going to, that's not ending. You know, the influencers and who's an influencer, the regulatory world's going to, you know, go after that. But I think that the crypto space, you know, it's very challenged, not only with characters like him and the high leverage of all these exchanges and shadow banks, I like to call them, like Celsius and Voyager, that's, you know, we're a quasi bank when they're not, because there's no controls and capital controls. I think they'll all get washed out, and I think what will come out of it will be sort of positive and constructive, because blockchain's not going away, and digital decentralized assets are not going away.
No.
And so I remain positive long term. And Hive, you know, Hive has been still the most efficient miner of all the crypto miners. I'm very proud of it. I'm surprised that some have market caps the same or bigger than us, and we make 9 times they did last quarter in EBITDA. Last year we did 10 million. Bitcoin was much higher, and Ethereum we did 10 million in revenue per employee. Goldman Sachs is $1 million. Royalty companies like Franco-Nevada, so we get 34 million in revenue per employee. You know, they're the darlings for efficiency ratio. But I think that all these crypto miners, which started out of Vancouver, there's good structure, good discipline. All the CEOs of the miners are very mature. They're much more sophisticated than when Hive first went public. And so I think that industry, I think we need more professionalism in all these guys that hang their hats as being exchanges or shadow banks or whatever they're doing. There has to be greater credibility put in there. But we're going to find out this guy's paid a lot of people for influencers. Like he bought various bloggers off.
Well, I mean,
there's no photograph of me with him. I'm very happy.
Good. I don't want to see one. That's good, because it was something around 70 million to the Democrats, but I'm on the same page as you. I'm really curious what he paid to media. I mean, you know, Kevin O'Leary was on CNBC a couple of days ago talking about his $15 million check, and then saying he'd kind of, you know, he'd support the guy in the future. And it's like, what are you talking about? I think there's like a big sum, and I wonder if that's why he was getting this white glove treatment from the media across the board. I found it very curious.
It's very, very weird, but we know that places like CNBC, they're giving lob balls to him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bloomberg's giving lob balls to him, and so that's the difficulty you see. But there's no doubt he's harmed this industry significantly.
Although $250 million is an extraordinary sum, Bankman-Fried won't have to pay it unless he violates the terms of his bail agreement or fails to show up to court. The bail plan was agreed to as part of his commitment to waive his extradition fight. Federal prosecutors in Manhattan continue seeking information from Democrats and Republicans about donations from Sam Bankman-Fried and 2 former executives of the companies he co-founded. In the days after SBF was arrested and charged with violations including major campaign finance laws, prosecutors reached out to representatives for campaigns and committees that had received millions of dollars from Bankman-Fried, his colleagues, and their companies. What do you think about Frank Holmes' interview on the unraveling of FTX, Kevin O'Leary's role in the company, and what we can expect next with the Sam Bankman-Fried saga? Comment down below. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This is Library of Wealth. We'll see you in the next video.